They fought tenaciously for nearly 3 years, and 43,000 have died in combat. Ukraine's soldiers have proved brave and resilient in the face of Russia's seemingly limitless supply of troops. And yet visit a city like Kyiv and you're struck by just how many young men there still are. So why aren't more of them being mobilised? Why, when Ukraine is struggling to replace its casualties or rotate exhausted troops from the front line, isn't it conscripting more of them? It's a question US lawmakers are apparently asking in increasing numbers as the clock ticks toward Donald Trump's return in January. Behind closed doors, Germany has also been calling on Ukraine to lower its conscription age.
Slava Ukraini!
A year ago, Volodymyr Zelensky did bow to pressure and lowered the minimum age of compulsory military service from 27 to 25. Ukraine's then Commander-in-Chief, Valery Zaluzhny, said the country needed 500,000 more soldiers. Penalties for draft dodgers were also increased. But 25 was as low as the president would accept. He, like many in Ukraine, believed the country needs to preserve its young men, the fathers of the future. It already has the lowest birth rate in Europe, and the population has fallen by 10 million since 2014. The president also said Ukraine doesn't have enough military equipment to sustain an army bigger than its current 1 million men. But on the battlefield, that means the burden is falling on millennials. The average age of Ukrainian troops is 43. Ukrainian men aged 18 to 60 are barred from leaving the country, and huge numbers have volunteered to fight. But reports also suggest 650,000 more, all of fighting age, have left the country since the Russian invasion and are now living across Europe. Germany alone is believed to be home to nearly 200,000 of them. Reports say 20,000 Ukrainian men have fled the country after being called up. Of those still living in Ukraine, some have paid bribes to military officials in return for medical exemptions, while others simply stay away from official employment and keep a low profile, trying to avoid the recruiters. So how does Ukraine's serving age compare? Well, the average age of a soldier, sailor or airman in the British Armed Forces is currently 31.
Operation Desert Shield began
back during the Gulf War in 1990. The average age for a US soldier was just 27. By the time of Iraq and Afghanistan, that had risen to 33. The US drafted more than 2 million 18 to 25-year-olds during the Vietnam War, a fact not lost on critics of Kyiv's policy. How many extra men would be eligible for military service if Ukraine lowered the age isn't entirely clear. The current US administration says it would make sure they were all trained and equipped. But of course, that offer could well disappear come January. Kyiv says it's on track to recruit an extra 200,000 soldiers by the end of this year. But for now, Ukraine's 40-somethings fight on. Meanwhile, the Kremlin claims it's bolstering the size of its military by 30,000 men a month. One unnamed senior US official told the Reuters news agency that Ukraine does now have enough equipment to increase its pipeline of recruits. Without it, he said, Ukraine's existing soldiers, many of whom have been serving since the invasion, will continue to suffer, unable to rest, refit or re-equip. With those who wanted to volunteer to fight now either exhausted, wounded or dead, the pressure on Kyiv to re-examine this likely to grow the longer this war grinds on. Simon Newton, BFBS Forces News. Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.